Hello, dear students. Welcome back to our news channel. Students, in today's podcast, we will be diving into the world of nature, science, and sustainability. Today, we are going to explore a fascinating topic that you may not have heard about before, but one that's super important for fighting climate change. It is about carbon trading. Yes, carbon trading. Now, students, and guess what? India is working hard to play a big role in this, right? So, when we talk about carbon trading, let's just get comfortable and dive into the world of carbon credits, and how India plans to use these to save our planet. So, first thing first, let's break down what carbon and carbon trading actually mean. Now, students, we hear a lot about carbon when people talk about pollution, climate change, and even global warming. But carbon is actually a natural part of our planet, and it lives in everything from the food we eat to the trees we see, even in us. All right. However, when we burn things like coal or oil and even gas to make electricity or fuel for cars, we release an extra amount of carbon into the air. तो जब हम कार्स यूज करते हैं, ऑयल और गैस यूज करते हैं, फ्यूल बेसिकली हमारे व्हीकल के लिए जो भी हम फ्यूल यूज करते हैं, तो जब वो फ्यूल बर्न होता है, वो बर्न होके कार एयर में एक्स्ट्रा कार्बन रिलीज होता है. ऑल राइट. और यही एक्स्ट्रा कार्बन एटमॉस्फेयर में रहकर कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बन जाता है. और ये जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड है, इट ट्रैप्स हीट एंड इट मेक्स आवर प्लैनेट warmer. All right. And when Earth gets too warm, we start facing big problems like melting glaciers, rising sea levels, and even extreme weather condition. All right. And this is why countries all around the world, including India, are trying to find ways to cut down on this extra carbon pollution. Okay? तो यही जो कार्बन एयर में प्रेजेंट है, फ्यूल से जलकर आया है, डीजल से जलकर आया है, पेट्रोल, गैस, ऑयल से जलकर आया है, इसी कार्बन से जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड बन रहा है. और ये कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड आपको पता है कि सनलाइट, सन की रेज जो हीट है उसको ट्रैप कर लेते ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट की वजह से. और फिर जो हीट है, ये हीट बाकी सारी इवेंट्स के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है. कौन से इवेंट्स? ग्लेशियर्स, सी लेवल राइज, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग बेसिकली. तो सारी कंट्रीज को मिलकर एक कुछ वे आउट ढूंढना चाहिए. तो एक इन्होंने वे ढूंढा था कार्बन ट्रेडिंग का. ओके. एंड कार्बन ट्रेडिंग बहुत एक अच्छा इम्पोर्टेंट पॉलिसी है. और इसमें आप मानोगे कि भारत का बहुत बड़ा योगदान है. राइट. सो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज कार्बन ट्रेडिंग? Students, imagine that each country has a goal for how much carbon it's allowed to release each year. Okay? एक हमने गोल सेट कर लिया क्योंकि ग्लोबल वार्मिंग को कम करना है. और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग कैसे कम होगी? जब कार्बन एमिशन कम होगा. सो इमेजिन हर एक कंट्री के पास कुछ गोल है कि आप इतना ही कार्बन रिलीज कर सकते हैं. लेट्स से अ कंट्री ए is allowed to release 100 tons 100 tons of carbon per year. But this country is very clever. They managed to reduce their carbon emission to only 80 tons. अब परमिशन कितना था कि आप मैक्सिमम 100 टन तक ही रिलीज कर सकते हो, लेकिन कार्बन ए ने क्या किया, हम तो भाई स्ट्रिक्ट पॉलिसी लेकर आएंगे, हम 100 की जगह 80 तक रिड्यूस कर देंगे, जो कि अच्छी बात है, राइट। तो अब इनके पास एक बफर है 20 टन ऑफ कार्बन एमिशन। तो 20, क्योंकि 100 तक तो अलाउड है ही, और इन्होंने सिर्फ 80 ही रिलीज किया, ऑल राइट। So now they have 20 tons of extra space that they didn't use. Meanwhile, another country we have, and let's call it country B. Okay. And country B is really struggling to meet its goal. Okay. And क्योंकि इमेजिन करो कि कंट्री बी में व्हीकल ज्यादा है, ज्यादा डेवलप्ड है, और फ्यूल का ज्यादा यूसेज है, तो कंट्री बी के लिए थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो रहा है अप टू ओनली 100 टन तक कार्बन रिलीज करना। ओके। एंड कार्बन एंड कंट्री बी रिलीज्ड more carbon than it was supposed to, that is 120 tons of it. Okay, 120 tons instead of 100, they released 120 tons. Now country B has a carbon debt. क्या है कंट्री बी के पास? कार्बन डेट। ओके, कर्ज। एंड दे नीड टू बैलेंस थिंग्स आउट। क्यों? क्योंकि डिसाइड क्या किया था, सिर्फ 100 तक से रिलीज करना है। सो कंट्री ए कैन sell its extra carbon space or carbon credits to country B. Okay, so that it can stay, this country can stay within its carbon limit. And that is called carbon trading. It's like buying and selling airspace to keep our planet healthy. All right. Now, why carbon trading matters for India? Let's talk about why it's big. First of all, let's talk about why it's a big deal for India. India has promised to work very hard to keep its carbon emission low. And one big promise India made is that by the year 2030, half of all the electricity we use will come from clean energy. Clean energy का मतलब क्या होता है? What do you mean by clean energy? It means that energy that doesn't produce extra carbon, जैसे solar, wind और hydro, basically renewable source of energy, right? And because India is making this huge commitment, it can become a major player in the carbon market. So if India can cut down on its carbon emissions, it can earn carbon credits and then trade them with other countries, just like in our earlier example. But this isn't just about money. It's also a way to show that India is serious about tackling climate change. All right. Now, let's go to this news article where it is dealing with certain challenges. Yes, you can see in the last paragraph, some challenges India will face in carbon trading are mentioned. Okay, so first of all, carbon trading sounds awesome, correct? But it's not as easy as it sounds. In fact, there are some pretty big challenges India has to overcome. So let's talk about a few of these. Right. First of all, the first challenge is verification. Right. Imagine you had a school project. Okay. You had a school project and you claim to be done. but you didn't really finish all the tasks. Okay, you have been given a school project and you are claiming, yes, I have completed my project, but in reality you didn't really finish all the tasks. So if your teacher doesn't check your work, you might get, you might get away with it. In the same way, countries need to prove they are really cutting down on carbon emissions, and this is called verification. And India needs a strong system to verify that the carbon reductions are actually being done. Okay, it's actually real. Secondly, regulatory enforcement. Now, regulatory enforcement, basically, it's a fancy way of saying that someone needs to make sure that everyone is following the rules. And India needs to make sure that companies and organizations aren't faking their emission cuts or cheating the system. Basically, Indian government, they need a strict regulatory enforcement. Okay? They are making sure that everyone is following the rules in our country. And third point, which is mentioned in this article in great detail, it's about transparency. Yes. Transparency. Yes. Transparency. Finally, transparency is important. What is transparency? Basically, everything should be open and clear. जो है वो सामने है, clear है. Think about when you play a game with your friends and you want everyone to follow the rules and be honest. Right? जब भी आप कोई गेम खेलते हो अपने फ्रेंड्स के साथ, आप यही उम्मीद करते हो ना कि आपके फ्रेंड चीटिंग ना करें, ऑनेस्ट रहें. So in carbon trading, if the process isn't transparent, people might start doubting that if carbon trading is actually helping reduce pollution or not. तो अगर ट्रांसपेरेंसी नहीं होगी तो लोगों को लगेगा कि कार्बन ट्रेडिंग से एक्चुअली फायदा हो भी रहा है कि नहीं. So despite these challenges, India is working on some pretty cool projects to help reduce carbon emission. And India has already projects in fields like renewable energy efficiency, meaning making machines and buildings that don't waste energy. And guess what? Companies in India are also now working on special projects that can earn carbon credits, which they later can trade. For example, if a country manages to save a lot of energy or switch to renewable energy, it might get these carbon credits, right? And then they can trade it with some other country. So India is becoming a leader in developing new ways to help the planet. Now the question is, why all of this matters, especially for you, right? We always discuss this at the end of the article. See, India's work on carbon trading isn't just about making money or cutting pollution. It's about protecting the environment and keeping the earth healthy for everyone, including you and future generations. So by building a strong carbon market, India can help lead the way in finding solutions to climate change. Not, and this strategy not only will make our air cleaner, but it will also help save energy and create new jobs in fields like renewable energy and conservation. So think of it this way. Every bit of carbon that India keeps out of the atmosphere and makes the earth a little healthier, right? जो भी कार्बन इंडिया सेव कर रहा है, एटमॉस्फेयर से दूर रख रहा है, वो अर्थ को हेल्दी बना रहा है. And by working with other countries, India is part of the global team that's trying to tackle climate change together. So there you have it. Young planet protectors, right? Carbon trading might sound like a complicated idea, but it's really just a way to help our planet by trading airspace and encouraging countries to cut down on pollution, right? So thanks for tuning in to today's episode. Be sure to join us next time for more exciting journeys into the world of science, politics, nature, sustainability, economics. Until then, keep protecting the planet, and make our world a better place to live.